Time to build strength, body and spirit, hoodman mode, protector mode, kingdom style. Let's get it. I'm jogging with fringes, butter blue on my teeth. Deuteronomy 22, that reminder on me. Living these ways, cause I'm guarding my home. 1 Corinthians 11, I stand as a headstrong. Every rep that I push, yeah, I'm training with purpose. Temple of the most, I can keep it in service. Psalm 1:4, hands trained for the test. Not for violence, but the shield who I bless. Treadmill running, yeah, I'm building up breath. Feeling that burn, prophets talk about health. Working on my mind and my muscle the same. Joshua 1, be strong, maintain. For the days ahead, yeah, I stay prepared. Never slacking off, not stay aware. Spin stay sharp when the body stay tight. 1 Peter 5, stand firm, hold tight. Yeah, kingdom fitness king, yeah, I move with purpose. Temple stay clean, yeah, I walk in service. Fringes on my shirt with a border of blue. Staying in the world while I jog on through. Building up strength, yeah, I train for my wife. Stir right, heavy, have to stay in your life. Kingdom fitness king, yeah, I move with purpose. Temple stay clean, yeah, I walk in service. Fringes on my shirt with the border of blue. Staying in the world while I jog on through. Building up strength, yeah, I train for my wife. Stir right, heavy, have to stay in your life. Using that bench press, yeah, I'm raising my frame. 1 Corinthians 9, discipline there. My household depend on the strength I build, so I grind every day, yeah, the mission fulfilled. Running them laps, yeah, I'm sharpening skill. Proverbs 20, oh, wise man, chill. My temple ain't slopping, I stay in control. Clean body, clean mind, that's the righteous roll. Analytical stride, yeah, I'm locking in pace. Talking about 9 commandments in place. I don't skip days, now I rise with the dawn. Faith in my steps, yeah, I keep pressing on. For the days ahead, yeah, I stay on alert. Strength on my shoulders, truth in my shirt. Iron sharp iron, yeah, we build every day. Sirac 6, strong brothers in the way. Yeah, kingdom fitness king, yeah, I move with purpose. Temple stay clean, yeah, I walk in service. Fringes on my shirt with the border of blue. Staying in the world while I jog on through. Building up strength, yeah, I train for my wife. Sirac study, have to stay in your life. Kingdom fitness clean, yeah, I move with purpose. Temple stay clean, yeah, I walk in service. Fringes on my shirt with the border of blue. Staying in the world while I jog on through. Building up strength, yeah, I train for my wife. Sirac study, have to stay in your life. Live, breathe, stay on track. Run, push, never fall back. Train your temple, build your frame. Give all praises, call his name. Steps get heavy, spirit get strong. Word in my chest, carry me along. Every rep done, every lap I run. All praises to the Father, we ain't done. Kingdom fitness king, yeah, I move with purpose. Temple stay clean, yeah, I walk in service. Fringes on my shirt with a border of blue. Staying in the work while I jog on through. Building up strength, yeah, I train for my wife. Sir, right 30, have to stay in your life.
Slide in the light, now move with it. Step in the word, now groove with it. Yeah. Left foot back, let the truth walk through. Right foot, let the most high guide you. Now slide, slide. Israel is right, now slide, slide. War righteous tonight, hands up. Let the scripture shine. Israelite slide, 1 step at a time. Yeah. Aye. Step left, that's obedience flow. Psalm 1:9, that's the way we grow. Step right, that's commandments tight. Matthew 5:14, just shine your light. Tap front, that's walking in truth. Tap back, break chains from youth. Side step, that's the narrow road. Proverbs 3:6 will carry your load. Not dip low, we humble in grace. Rise back up, we seek his face. Turn to the side, that's a righteous view. Straighten up, let the most high
slide in the light, now move it.
Step in the word, now prove it. Left foot back, let the truth walk through. Right foot up, let the most high guide you. Now slide, slide. Israel in the stride, now slide, slide. War righteous tonight, hands up high. Let the scriptures shine. Israelite slide, 1 step at a time. Hey, when I say walk, you walk. When I say shine, you shine. When I say swing, friend, just swing. When I say rise, it's time. Deuteronomy 7, we chosen, no doubt. Ephesians 6, summer on when we step out. 1 John 5, doesn't grieve us at all. We slide in the truth, cause we answered the call. Step twice, that's faith on beat. Kick right, there's victory on feet. Bring it back, that's Israel's pride. Now everybody hit that Israelite slide.
Slide in the light, now move with it.
Step in the word, now groove with it. Left foot back, let the truth walk through. Right foot up, let the most high guide you. Now slide, slide. Israel's stride, now slide, now slide. All right, just tonight, hands up high. Let the scriptures shine.
Israelite slide, 1 step at a time.
Yeah, left,
right.
Slide in the truth all day, all night.
Up, down, down, down.
Israelites with the Lord now. Scriptures fire, let the whole world know. Look,
Shine, shine.
it's right there, slide, hit it one more time.
Slide in the light now, move with it.
Step in the word now, groove with it. Left foot back, let the truth walk through. Right foot up, let the most high guide you. Now slide, slide. It's ready to strike, now slide, slide. All righteous and right hands up. High, let the scriptures shine. Tight. No.
Persala.
I've been looking for feel good, it's still hood. Fresh, leaving no prints like Uncle Phil would. I feel it under my chest, I'm getting further from death. I see his water protecting me like the shield would. Lot of rain, keep the feel good. We gotta bang just to feel good. They bang the set, keep a drumstick tucked to the chest. And them symbols, just a symbol for the love for the metal. Glitter with bezels, find Nirvana in a speaker. And my love for the ghetto, builders dilapidated bass, rattle trunk with the treble. At the corner we would try to be rebels. Cussing loud, smoking papers, who'd have thought of these devils? Had us under their clutches, guess the score wasn't settled. We the pray, so we praying in the hood, but we patiently waiting. Say the Shema when I rise, keep me away from the Satan. Put your spirit on my mind, give a song for salvation. Yeah, the sun brighter when I hear your quotes. I feel lighter when I hear your notes. This a melody for everyone with felonies. Know you still got hope. I said you still got hope. The sun brighter when I hear your quotes. I feel lighter when I hear your notes. This a melody for everyone with felonies. Know you still got hope. I said you still got hope. Rise and shine, put your makeup on. Baby girl, why you take so long? Had a vision of an angel, I forgot how she looked. Cause I saw you and my brain clicked on. Now I sing this song, yep. Rise and shine, get your makeup on. Baby girl, why you take so long? Had a vision of an angel, I forgot how she looked. Cause I saw you with my brain clicked on. Now I sing this song, yeah. Like Lottie Dottie, got the spirit riding shoddy with me. She a baddie, take her to parties with me. Help me focus on my studies, and we always see the darkest secrets. We read at night when the Father teaching. We keep it light, trying to brighten the night, even though stress is mounting. Had encounters on the devil's mountain. Felt the trouble when I stepped in the door, and I should have never doubted. He sent an angel when I felt his power, still got hope. The sun brighter when I hear your quotes. I feel lighter when I hear your notes. This a melody for everyone with felonies. Know you still got hope. I said you still got hope. The sun brighter when I hear your quotes. I feel lighter when I hear your notes. This a melody for everyone with felonies. Know you still got hope. I said you still got hope. On that day then every nation and kindred would take a bow before the Lamb and come and learn from the Spirit. It don't matter what you witnessed before. If you're living then you still got hope. Yeah. On that day, every nation and kindred would take a bow before the Lamb and come and learn from the Spirit. It don't matter what they witnessed before. If you're living, then you still got hope. Yeah. It's brought around over here on this table. We want to make sure that everybody can line up and just get through smoothly. Put the plates, the forks, all that, line all that up. Hold on real quick. Move the tables over around the side like that. Yeah, because we got to to make sure the walkway is clear for people to get to the front. And then when we line up and do the prayers, we're probably going to like have everybody come around this way. And then we'll have...
Connoisseur with all things exquisite, expensive taste and higher end living. Always knew that I would get here. Let's toast to the life of excellence, like different views on this level. Yeah.
Yeah, I got different views since I done came in this truth. Yeah, I got different views, that's why I jumped in the booth. I'm a Jew, you could tell by much more than my hue. Got the elegance of a duke, aristocrat is the move. I exist amongst gods, giving earth living food. A prince of the power of God, soon they'll see the root. I dived in the book, came out with wisdom and truth. I learned to spit it real smooth through the ways of YouTube. Blessed are the feet of them that decided to teach. Blessed be his voice, the way it right on this beat, counting sheep. Every one of them that go out and preach. After they heard the word, the spirit decided to keep in the street. While they preaching to the chosen and meek, but not peace. What we saying make you wake up from sleep. It gets deep. With this type of shit, you cannot be weak. Cause if you weak, you can wake up in the hands of the thief. Different view.
Connoisseur with all things exquisite, expensive taste and higher end living. Always knew that I would get here. Let's toast to the life of excellence, like different views on this level. Yeah.
Yo, it's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been in the booth, but I told you I wasn't finished. I promise on the mic I can still put on the clinic. Eternally one of the 12 princes. You see these fringes? Since I was a youngin', I always feel like a judge. Born an aristocrat, royalties in my blood. Still the prodigy, known as Easy Money the Prince. Just walk with a new light, the kind that you can't dim. I told niggas I'm back and we shooting above the rim. The flow of Cash Money shot, I showed you I got the print. Ain't been in the booth since I was 17 years old. Suckers thought I fell off, now I've been getting dope. Been sitting back, out here working on my glow. Bruise rocking, big chains, Rolex watches for show. Expensive garments, lilies not crosses. If you come through, baby, please be cautious.
Connoisseur with all things exquisite, expensive taste and higher end living. Always knew that I would get here. Let's toast to the life of excellence, like different views on this level. Yeah.
Hey, shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome back to another Milk Monday. This is Captain Knock with Anointed House of Saints. We are so glad to have you in the building this evening. I hope that your week is starting off with blessings. But before we get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. I want to be thankful for all the many blessings that he's given us, the ability to wake up to this truth, the ability to be able to go out and first learn what we did not know, about our history, and be able to go and teach others. And that's the wonderful thing about this awakening, this journey that we're on, coming back to our roots. And today's class is going to be based around some things that Captain Eliel is going to bring out. Thank you for pulling up the thumbnail. So today's lesson is called Milk Monday Presents History White People Never Wanted Blacks to Know. And I am going to say that the white and the black is purposely put in there because we know that we go by so-called, right? But we got this titled this way for a reason. But this is going to be an interesting lesson. So I hope that everybody is attentive, pay attention. We're going to go over some things that you may know and may not have known, right? Because we're in the age of discovery, age of, new technologies, we're able to dig up stuff from the past. So this is going to be something pretty interesting. But before we go ahead and pass it on to Captain Elia, I want to first go ahead and say this: any brothers who want to do the work with Anointed House of Saints, if you've been following us, if you've been even congregating with us, and Lord willing, you've been edified, and the Most High has put on your spirit to join with AHOS, please let us know through email at anointedhos@gmail.com. Make sure you put your name, your state and city where you're from, phone number, and in the description line, make sure the subject line, make sure you put prospect phase so that we'll know what you're, so we'll know what information we need to give to you. All right. All praises. Also, any sisters, especially within our congregation now, that want to do the work of the Lord with the Anointed House of Saints, meaning that you want to get your hands dirty, meaning you want to do this work for the Lord, right? We need the sisters ministry, right? We do need that. Any sisters who are wanting to be a part of that, please send us your interest, same way, through email, name, number, city and state. Let us know, that you would like to take part, right? Make sure you put in the subject line Sisters Ministry, and we'll get that information to you also, all right? Now, for everyone else, all those, children, well, I ain't gonna say children, I'll just say families, right? Any families who are wanting to join with our congregation, we do have what's called a congregation chat, where we speak amongst, with one another, we pray for one another, we study with one another, we laugh, we just small talk, whatever it is, giving advice about things that we go through on a daily. To be a part of our AHOS chat group, you must go through a questionnaire. But if you want to be a part of that, please reach out to us at anointedhos@gmail.com. After you finish the questionnaire, we will give you the prompts of how to be a part of the congregation chat. This gives you an opportunity to speak with the leaders of the camp, with soldiers, sisters, brothers, just like we have, our, a one big, huge family. That's what we're trying to make this. All right. So all praises for that. Also, pull up the calendar real quick. Give some upcoming dates. As you see, this is our AHOS Feast Day Calendar 2026. You know what? I'm going to read Leviticus 23 and 4 because we never read it. So I'm going to read that. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. And as you see, our new moons, we just had our fifth moon, which is July 14th. Our next moon, which is the 6th month, will be taking place on August 12th. For our feast days, our next feast day coming up will be the Feast of Trumpets, which will be taking place on September 11th, followed by Day of Atonement on September 19th. And then, of course, we have our Feast of Tabernacles, which will be taking place. Go ahead and pull that calendar. You can pull that down and pull up the Feast of Tabernacles thumbnail, the water. Thank you. As you can see, we'll be having our Feast of Tabernacles. We'll be gathering as a congregation from September 25th to the 28th. That's this year. This will be taking place in Greensboro, North Carolina. For more information and to register, please visit our website at anointedhouseofsaints.org. That's anointedhouseofsaints.org. All right. It says Daniel 17, dwell amongst the saints, Feast of Tabernacles 2026. We're looking forward to seeing families and extended families to come and participate and be a part of this wonderful, wonderful feast. So if you're able to attend, please let us know. All right. Let's see, anything else? I don't think I have anything else other than, let me give a few shout outs real quick. We only got a few people in the room. Right. Let me go ahead and give these shout outs real quick. Mother Johanna, always praying for you. Shalom, Mother. Good to see you as always. Shalom to you. Shalom, the tribe of Judah. Deshelle, shalom, sis. Good to see you again. All praises. Good to see you. Shalom to the mighty soldier Nadiyab. Shalom. Shalom to the mighty brother Azariah Gunn, aka Tank. Shalom to you, King. Shalom to the lovely Miss Romanica Wade. Shalom, sis. Good to see you. Shalom to the lovely Charlia. Haven't seen you in a while, sis. Good to see you. Shalom to you. Shalom to that brother Keith. Hey, we got people we ain't seen in a minute popping up. No, I'm just shalom, shalom to you, Keith. Shalom, King. Who else? Is that all? Is that it? Oh, we got more. All right. Shalom, the seed of David, Israel. Shalom to you. Shalom. Shalom to that mighty, mighty brother DTA. Back in Georgia, the mighty DTA Twan. Shalom, King. Shalom to Ak Moshe. Shalom. Shalom to the mighty. Is that officer, first officer? I think that is. Shalom to first officer. I think that's Shemaiah. Shalom. Shalom to the mighty captain, Judah, North Kakalaki. Shalom to you, King. Shalom. Shalom to the mighty officer Kowal. As always, the mighty brother. That's my good brother right there. My partner in truth. All right. Who else we got? We got Sky, the lovely Sky Anderson. That's House of Nadiyab. Shalom to you, sis. Good to see you. Anyone else who want to get a shout out? Go ahead and throw something in the chat. If I don't see you, somebody else may see you and they either pop you up on screen or they shout you out. All right. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this class started. So it's right. I'm handing it right over to you, Cap. All yours.
Hold on just a second. I'm trying to figure out what in the world. That's awfully weird. Hold on a second. All right. Cool.
How you doing?
You can see me? You can hear me? All right, cool.
Hear you loud and clear.
All
right.
Can
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You
Sound
good.
Okay, good.
All right, well, shalom, y'all. Shalom to everybody. Like you said, pray everybody doing well. Want to give all honor and thanks to the Most High Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shah, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. All right. So today we're gonna be going over some history. Main reason I'm gonna be going over it is because well, I think it's something that y'all need to learn. But for the time being, what we're gonna do is just watch a video, right? Not really gonna be too many scriptures I'm gonna be bringing out. It's a literal historical lesson. What this is gonna do is corroborate what I've been bringing out, right? It's not just me that's been bringing it out. Other brothers have too. I've mentioned them before. But this video is going to, literally like, it's another brother that's not even an Israelite. And this video is kind of old, right? And he's coming to the same conclusions that we've come to, right? Difference is he's not an Israelite. So he's calling them Africans or African Americans instead of Israelites. You know what I'm saying? From whatever tribe and stuff like that. But we, of course, did deeper research and stuff like that. So we were able to give you some information. I also found out from this lesson that there's a name for black people from Europe, right? Not from slavery, but the original people that founded the place, right? Not talking Japhet, but people after them. So that term is Broadnack. And I'm going to pull this up for y'all on the chat real quick because I looked up some stuff when my computer finished loading. All right, whatever, bro. All right, so here we go. All right. I'll scroll up. So let me show y'all this real quick. Had to pull it up. I didn't have it on my computer yet. All right. So I asked for the breakdown of the Broadnack name and stuff like that. Give me a second. My computer's still loading. It's acting stupid. All right. So I asked for the alternative view, of course, like that, right? Because that's what you got to ask for sometimes in order to get the correct answer and stuff. So I asked for it, and this is basically what I received. So Broadnack is an Old English surname. In fact, let me move up. So it says, if you're asking about the alternative historical outlook used by some researchers to argue that the Broadnack family and related Black American lineages, which Broadnack isn't a family, like so to speak, it's actually what they coined for all the quote unquote foundational Black Britons is what they call them, right? FBB. So, yeah. So all of the so-called Black Americans would be part of the, well, at least the ones that come from Europe, will be part of the quote unquote Broadnack family, if that's the way it's being worded. But it says they preserve ancestry from the foundational Britons rather than from West African populations brought during the Atlantic slave trade. Here's a summary of the framework. This is not the mainstream historical consensus, which we know, because mainstream wouldn't want you to know anything like this anyway, which is why we titled the video what we titled the video, right? So, yeah, the fact that there's an alternative model that can be built on it means that there's sources for this type of thing, right? And if there's sources, that means other people found out about it as well. And one of the people you're going to find in this video that we're going to play is, well, the guy that's talking in the video is one of those people. He's Professor Clyde Winters. So he's also a brother. Hey, Shalom Nazar. He's also a brother, and he's going to explain some things and stuff that he found as well. There's going to be some things that we've already, like, I guess, dispelled or explained who is who when it comes to this video, because it is older. So there's been things that have come out since then. But, yeah. Or his research is older, I should say. But there's been things that have come out since then that have proven certain things that I guess weren't known back when he was doing the research and writing the books and stuff like that. So, but anyway, it says Broadneck is an Old English surname. The surname is documented in the English habitational name that developed from Broadnecks in Warwickshire and Kent before appearing in the colonial Virginia. So my family, as I told you, we were the foundational Black Americans in Lancashire and Yorkshire, right? So I also did a thing on chat, which I'll show you guys later, where I asked, who was Black in these areas. And, Warwickshire, Kent, Yorkshire, Yorkfordshire, Lancashire, all these different places, Lancaster, they all are places where niggas was at. You know what I'm saying? And they're the most famous places in England and stuff like that. There's also going to be some things here that tell you that the Irish and the Welsh people were Black. I also got some stuff on here from ChatGPT that explain that as well. So just more stuff that's corroborating the history that we've been talking about and showing you guys for the last almost 2 years now, right? If not 2 years now. So, all right. But yeah, it also appeared in colonial Virginia, which is the original Virginia, not the Virginia in America, but the place that the name got the place from, or that the place got the name from, right? Some Black Broadneck families may descend from earlier Black Britons, or they, would descend, is what it should say. But chat got to be politically correct sometimes for the white people. So it says, rather than assuming every Black Broadneck inherited the name solely through enslavement, proponents suggest some families descend from free or long-established Black communities already present in Britain before migration to Virginia. So, now this is talking about regular Virginia, right? And it's telling you that these Black people that end up going into slavery in regular Virginia, because that's where most of the Black Britons went to, right? If they weren't going to the Caribbean, they were going to Virginia, right? And then from Virginia, they went to other places, like my family did, right? Louisiana and stuff like that. So, or later, they just came on a ship during the Black Codes straight to Louisiana, and then got messed up after the Louisiana Purchase, right? Then they were thrown in slavery as well, or had to run away to a Native American reservation or something like that. So that's when all of that type of stuff became real fragrant and blatant and common and all that type of stuff. So some Black Broadneck families may descend from early Black Britons. Like I said, it should say should and do. Black populations exist in Britain before Windrush era, which is why it says that. So I don't know why they had to be politically correct if they was going to tell us it was niggas there. But again, ChatGPT. So it says Britain had Africans, North Africans, Israelites, of course, and other people of color, Israelites, during the Roman, Tudor, Stuart, and Georgian periods. Why? Because, well, there was Black Romans, which we've showed you guys. I have the PowerPoint up here. We'll show you again. The Tudors were Black. The Stuarts, you guys should know, King James family, were Black. And the Tudors were the people right before him. So, his family, rather. And then George, King George, the Black George. That's where Georgia gets the name from. Georgian. Yeah, me. Okay, so he was a nigga too. And of course, him being a black person, he's gonna have black people in his area. So yeah, there was niggas in Georgia too. There was niggas in Europe during King George's reign. Although they were generally small minority, which is the lie part, because we can prove that. And yeah, we will. The political correctness is crazy. The foundation of Britain claim goes much further. Some alternative historians argue that portions of the ancient Britons, early Celts, Picts, and even Anglo-Saxons were substantially darker skinned than traditionally portrayed. And it's not just us that say these things. Books like, Nature Knows No Color Line, or books like The Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race tell you that all the niggas was black. The chapter that talks about all the black people in Origins of the Anglo-Saxon Race is literally called Our Darker Forefathers. And it tells you about the black men and their last names and the pictures that we're going to see from this brother in this video in a minute, right? Because he ended up finding the same information. So if the books he's reading tell you they was black, and if the people tell you they was black, and if the white man that's writing this book, Origins of the Anglo-Saxon Race in the early 1900s is black, I mean, he's telling you that they was black, then, plus all the sources that I showed you guys 2 weeks ago, it's like, yeah, it's not much you could do about it. But mainstream is going to teach what it says, which is why I made sure to tell me at the beginning of this that this is not going to be what mainstream teaches, which is why it still has to stay true to kind of what mainstream says, which is why it's going to throw things in there like a little minority, even though if I asked it to prove that, it wouldn't be able to, and it would show me records of, them not being the minority. So foundational Britain claim goes much further. So yeah, us being the Anglos and the Picts, says classical depictions. Thank you, Web Root. Go now. Classical depictions of darker complexion Britons. So that's what we're gonna see. Classical depictions. Why would they have classical depictions of niggas if they were like a small minority? That doesn't make any sense, right? White people didn't draw any black people in power, during colonization. They only drew us when they was trying to draw up a slave, right? If they was putting a slave on a poster and it had chains on it and looked like a monkey and all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't be no just regular pictures of niggas. You can't find that in the colonial time because it didn't exist. So the fact that they have classical depictions of niggas means that they were the majority. That alone means that, because that's how pictures worked during that time period and before, right? It wasn't camera time where we could just take pictures of anything. So pictures were made to be painted for important things and important people. If all the niggas or all the pictures during this time period are classical pictures and they're black or dark skin, that means those were the important majority people in the land. That's common sense, which is why there's a word called whitewashing and another word called iconoclasm, because they had to make us look white in order to make themselves seem like the majority, right? Makes sense, and it's common sense because it's true. It's factual information that you can look up, which is why chat can't lie and say that there are no black people in the area. It's got to tell me about the classical depictions, right, of dark complexion Britons. Medieval artwork, which is more of what it's talking about. So it tells you about the artwork twice because there's a whole lot of it that is, listed, whether it's been burned or not, and a lot of it that still exists that you can find on the internet, right? A lot of it I've showed you and will show you again from this PowerPoint we're gonna have. Genetic discussions of ancient populations. So even genetic discussions, how they try to do with the limba and stuff like that, where they can't ignore. It's so many of them, they can't ignore it. They have to just throw us in there to tell a little bit of the truth, right? They got to start putting us in the European movies and all that type of stuff, right? Othello and the Last Kingdom and Game of Thrones and all the other type of movies, right? They got to throw us in there because that's the type of that's the situation with history, right? So they know that it's easily, it's findable information now, for lack of better words. So it's easily seen due to things like this. ChatGPT. Watch this. Hebrew Israelite extension. Within some Hebrew Israelite frameworks, these black Britons are identified with migrations of the tribe of Dan. And you know why I said that? Because I've been the one looking it up. We the only ones that talk about it. It's only 5 camps talking about this stuff. Ain't nobody else talking about it. So it's not a framework within the Hebrew Israelite tradition. It's something that I've been looking up with ChatGPT, and now it's telling me that it's a framework because I've been looking it up and it knows I'm a Hebrew Israelite. See, this thing is kind of smart, but yeah, I guess it sees that it's gonna become a tradition. So I guess everything catching on with people, huh? Which I've been hearing it is. So, hey, might be on to some chat, but anyway, migrations of the tribe of Dan or other Israelite tribes that supposedly settled Britain centuries before Rome. In this interpretation, Israelites see peoples Danian, Dorian, Celtic Britons, Dane, Anglo-Saxons, families such as the Broadnecks are viewed as preserving remnants of these populations. Where mainstream history differs, we don't really give a damn. So it'll tell you the Broadneck surname is English in origin. So because it's English in origin, it can't be black. That's what mainstream says, right? English can't be black, right? That's what it wants you to think. Most Black Americans with the surname likely acquired it through enslavement or later inheritance from English families. You see this? That's the mainstream model. That's what they want you to think. You only got your last names from slavery or getting it from later white people, right? Which history we also dispelled with Chad a couple weeks ago, right? In the lesson before this, where I was talking about my last name and stuff. And I showed you guys it showing me my last name and everything like that in history with it. So, yeah. But it also says Britain did not have black residents before modern immigration. That's what mainstream wants you to think, right? So there were no black people before immigration started in the modern times. Even though we know that that's a damn lie, because now we can research it and see that there were black people, right? Documented black people with names listed and everything. So there's a reason Othello was black, because he's documented as a nigga. He's a real person, right? There's things that tell you Mozart was black. Things that tell you Beethoven was black. Actual documentation that described him, right? As opposed to them just telling you he was blonde and he could play the piano. They don't give you a description because they want you to just assume he was white because he's from Europe, right? When you read the descriptions, you see that's not what it was. By the way, we got pictures of him too. So, yeah, that's what they want you to believe, right? That you could only be black if you come there, or you can only be a black Briton if you come there from, modern immigration. So, but there is no accepted evidence. Accepted. So there is evidence, but they don't want to accept it that ancient Britain was primarily populated by black Africans, or that the Broadneck family can be traced to the foundation of black persons. So it was careful to tell you not that there is no history or that there's no evidence, because it will tell you that there's no known evidence if it does not know anything about that. It made sure to tell you no accepted, and it made sure to highlight that for me because it knows that I've already found the accepted evidence. So it's accepted. The thing is, well, there's evidence, you know what I'm saying? The existing evidence, I should say. It's just not accepted because, well, by mainstream, because they don't want to accept it. Of course, there are white alternative scholars, right? A lot of which are the ones that are writing these books that we're talking about. But aside from them just being the truth tellers, right? Majority of the people that are white don't want to tell the truth, as we know. So that's how this works. They're going to lie, and ChatGPT is going to explain the lie as it tells you where mainstream history differs. And these are the 3 biggest points. So nothing there tells you that our hypothesis is wrong, or that they can prove our hypothesis as wrong, or that anything is it, or that it's even a hypothesis. I'm a hypothesis because there's actual evidence to prove the things that we're saying, right? They just, as you see, don't want to accept the evidence in terms of the mainstream. So now, let me show y'all this real quick. Knock, are you there? You there, Knock? Nope, Knock ain't there. All right, I'm by myself. All right. So let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna get some scriptures one time for y'all before we play this video, because I want to show y'all something, right? There's a lot of history that they don't teach us in school about ourselves, right? And Kyle could probably tell you a little bit about it. But there's a lot of history that you can now look up that they don't tell you about yourself, right? When it comes to you being a Black, Hispanic, Native American person. And this European history, a lot of you people got last names. You might not know that it's, not a slave last name. You got to look that stuff up and try to do some research on it and stuff, right? A lot of you think that you're niggas. A lot of you want to be Judah, don't want to be anything but that. You know what I'm saying? But not saying that you can't be Judah from Europe, right? Because they was over there too. So there just needs to be a lot of research done, right? As to who brothers and sisters are. And if you are one of the people from here, or if your last name comes from Europe, and there's no real proof that it came from a slave master, then this is a video you need to watch. You know what I'm saying? All these videos that we've been making about this subject for the last couple of months are videos that you need to watch. So, but let me grab these scriptures for y'all one time. So, one thing we gotta remember, we're gonna just start with this. Baruch chapter 2. One thing we always gotta remember when we do lessons like this, right? Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. So Most High knew that we would, disobey him, that we would end up going off and stuff like that. Wouldn't end up listening, right? Staying on the path that we were originally set to be on. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. But in the land of your captivities, we're going to remember who we are, right? And this happened in every single captivity that you've been in. So now we're in the last one, it being America. So this is the way things got to move. These are the way that the captivity is going to go. Those of us that are meant to do it are going to wake up and start to find out things about ourselves that wasn't meant to be known naturally, right? Wasn't things that the white people intended for us to be able to find out about ourselves and about our families and things like that. No offense, Kyle. But says, for they are stiff-necked people, but in the land of the captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord their God, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. So that's the first thing I want y'all to understand. And of course, you got Sirach chapter 17, verse 11, which will explain to you about our heritage and stuff like that, and the things that you should remember, right? But something else, Jeremiah chapter 50. We always bring out Jeremiah 50 and 6, but I feel like for this lesson, it's fitting to bring out the 2 verses before that. So, Jeremiah 50 and 4. Excuse me. In those days, and in that time, said Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, and they shall, the children of Israel, Judah, are going to weep, and they shall go and seek the Lord their God. And they shall ask the way of Zion with their faces thither, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. So there's going to even be a time where, Israelites come back and we remember things and even decide to fully come back to the covenant as a people, right? But in the meantime, scriptures like Job chapter 8 and 8 explain to us that we're supposed to go and, seek the old path and figure out about our families, ask our fathers about our forefathers and find out history about them, right? Those are things that you're supposed to be doing. So only thing that I'm telling you, things that Panah's been trying to tell you, things that Ariela's been showing you and stuff like that, is that a lot of your history goes back to different tribes than what you guys thought. And those tribes go to areas that a lot of you guys know your family to be. You just didn't know it was niggas doing it, niggas there, or whatever the fact was. So you never looked into it, right? Figured it was just some story that they tell you or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, it was niggas there, and that's the deal. So, a lot of the stuff is stuff y'all need to research and do some history on. So, one more scripture, maybe 2 more. Ezekiel chapter 6, verse 8. Let me see what this one say, because I forgot. Hold on. Yeah, we'll say that for later. All right, cool. Now, let me pull this up, make it bigger. Oh, I guess it was big. All right, cool. So this is Dr. Clyde Winters. He's a professor, right? He's done a lot of history research. He's also an historian. He's got books like African Origin world writing system. So him, of course, being black, doesn't know nothing about the Israelites. He's not very religious, probably not religious at all. And he's kind of weird. I'm just gonna tell you that now, which you're gonna be able to tell from the video. So he's a weird dude, and doesn't seem religious at all. I can tell you, pork. See the mustache? He got the pork past the mustache. So, yeah. But African origin world writing systems. Says what? Mills Village. I don't know what that says. I can't read. He just got a bunch of books, right, on history. African American historical prisms. You got some Egyptian crap, right? He's got the Kushites. He's also got a book on Dan and the Denian and stuff like that. I don't remember which book it is. It's one of these books up here though. So, but yeah, let's see what he says.
But you can go there to find my books, or go to Amazon if you're interested in my books. Okay, let's get started. What is
his voice is gonna get a little high sometimes. He gets excited apparently. So just want to explain that to y'all so that y'all know he sounded a little weird, like I told you. So yeah. But hit the like button if you haven't already. And if you like history, this will be something that you like, because he's gonna tell you some things, gonna give you some sources, gonna show you some books, all that type of stuff. So if you don't like history, I'm sorry. Some of y'all need to like history. It just is what it is. So all right.
FBB, or Foundational Black Britons? The term FBB was coined by Dr. Marie Charles, an expert on Baradanak history. FBB is not a group. FBB is not an organization. FBB is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestral pedigree. As a result, FBB are descendants of the African and Baradanacs, the Aboriginal blacks who built the United Kingdom. Yes. Dr. Charles is making.
So when he says Baradanacs, we're gonna replace that with Israelite, because we know that's what they are. That's the real term for them. Baradanak is a made-up term by this Marie Charles lady. So she just made up the name because she probably is Egyptian, spirited in as far as what she follows and stuff. And of course, them Hotep people, they always got to put African on top of everything. So she wanted you to say, or to know, it's African and Broadnack, and Broadnack isn't a thing, so it's basically just all African, right? African American. Broadnack is what she's trying to call the African Americans. But the term we're going to use for them, what y'all are going to call them, what y'all are going to know them as when they say Broadnack, it's the Israelites. So our people, right? Whether they were Phoenician, whether they were Israelite, whether they were whatever, right? Whatever term they were going by, but that's what Broadnack is trying to label them broadly as.
Made it clear that we should call the black people in Britain, we should call you guys Baradanacs. No more calling you, in a sense, some other outsider. You're not an outsider. You're foundational Black Britons. That's your country. You created it. Number one, FBB, variant African descent, beginning with the Africans who crossed at Gibraltar 44,000 years ago, yes.
Now, some of this stuff is stuff that, it's history we don't care about. 1 and 2, part of 2, the Phoenician part, because that's going to talk about Dan and stuff like that, right? It says Egyptians because of, them being the Dingin in their time in Egypt and all that type of stuff, always going back and forth. So 1, we don't really care about. That's history that ain't connected to us. I don't even know if it's true. Don't think it is. But yeah, so that's that. Ain't damn sure when no damn 1,000. Damn sure when no 44,000 years ago. So, but yeah, so no, but yeah, no.
The first settlers of the United Kingdom crossed the Straits of Gibraltar 44,000 years ago. They went into Iberia.
Of course. Come on, buddy.
3, FBB are descendants of mainland blacks, including.
Damn, bro. Sorry, y'all.
The Moors, the Danes. Number 4, FBB, and this is something you don't want to believe this, and you may not believe it, but we're going to show you this over the upcoming years. FBB is root of the British architecture, agriculture, religion, and science. And number 5, Oliver Cromwell exiled hundreds of thousands of FBB to the Caribbean as chattel slaves. He didn't send.
And y'all know that name Oliver Cromwell because I mention it all the time when I talk about King James and Anthony Weldon, which is the guy that killed him. So Anthony Weldon and Oliver Cromwell, they worked together. And they were the white people that took over from King James, who y'all know was a brother, right? They killed him, took his family out of power, reestablished or reassembled the slave trade and switched up who was supposed to go into slavery, made us the slaves. He was one of the orchestrators of that, Oliver Cromwell. So that's history we've gone over before. If you don't know that history, I'm sorry, you missed it. But yeah.
And these black people to the Caribbean as indentured servants. He sent these black people to the Caribbean as chattel slaves. Oliver Cromwell exiled hundreds of thousands, represented the Pygmies, who we call Twa and Anu. Davison Thurman in Crania Britannica said the Celtic people were short and dark. They noted that Scotland was full of these little dark and curly-haired people. Yes.
So this is just stuff about the Celts. You know what I'm saying? They're explaining to you. He's got some, sources and stuff like that, some books he's going to show you, some things he's going to read. And, they explain accounts like this, where they're telling you Celts are black people, right? There's a book you can read called Black Celts that explains a lot of these accounts. He went and got all the different accounts from white people that explain the dark Celts or the black Celts and stuff like that, right? So it's a bunch of niggas like my height running around. They got curly hair and stuff like that. And, they killing people out there in Scotland, right? Ireland. That's where the word leprechaun came from. So, yeah. Were they midgets? No. They were just not all as tall as some of the white guys. Were they all short? No. It's just, just a stereotype. Like, I don't even want to say it. Yeah. Like a stereotype. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Curly hair. In America, we call it nappy hair.
Yeah. Sharing Wi-Fi with someone right now, y'all, so bear with me. She's fucked up. Wow. Hold on, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. See what's going on with this train. Don't do that.
Reach down into the Adriatic. They say the latter Danube receives the sources of the flow from here. I quote, look. Today, these areas are full of what we call Caucasian people, but it wasn't always like that.
So this goes over that. If you remember 2 weeks ago when I showed you guys the migration patterns and stuff like that, right? He's talking about, 44,000 years ago, but then he's showing 600 and 500 BC. I wouldn't go that early, but maybe 300 BC. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, for sure. There's black people all over Iberia and stuff like that, and up there too, right? So we get to Scandinavia and everything like that around that time as well. So, and he's, majority Celtic culture. So I don't know about Celtic culture being a thing for sure around 400 BC. I know it got big, much later than that, but yeah, the those are his timelines, not mine. So we fast forward a little bit more, see if this thing gonna work for me. Of course.
Oliver Cromwell killed off 500 Black Scotsmen and Black Irish, and he sent over 400,000 to the Caribbean and the 13 colonies. You were exiled. You were banished. They never thought the Varadonaks were coming back. But you back now, baby.
Yeah, so he looked crazy. But so Dr. Mason reported on the Highlanders in Canada, right? He said that they were the descendants of the Black Celts. So there's a Dr. Mason who said that these Black people, that the Celts are Black as well. He made it clear that these Highlanders spoke Gaelic. He called it Gaelic. I'm calling it Gaelic, like either just called in the history books and stuff. But that language I've already showed you guys is connected to Hebrew, which is further proof that these Celts are Gaelic speaking people, right? Are Israelites, not quote unquote broadnecks. But yeah, we're gonna let them call it whatever they want to call it and stuff like that. So, and they get this from the Gael of the Far West. So the Gael, right? That's part of the language, which is another reason why it should be Gaelic and not Gaelic, because that's yeah. But anyway, just the history is all I'm trying to match up with y'all so that y'all know it's real stuff, because he got books that can find it as well that are different than the books I have.
You're back now, baby.
But this book is from Black Celts. So, yeah, there you go.
And then left the knowledge for you to look up. The African Celts of Hungary, yes. There were many Celts that lived in Hungary. Look at these pictures.
I've explained this to you guys as well. It's being up in Hungary, Bulgaria, all that type of stuff. Russia, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, everything. So we was there. We was ruling them places. We was running them. We was enslaving Slavs, which is where the name comes from, Slav, right? It's white people that are Slavs because they were the Slavs. You know what I'm saying? We would have run selling them and pulling them all over the place, which is one of the reasons why they got the idea to do it to us, because it was something that a lot of their people were already used to. So yeah, we're used to us being the slave master, quote unquote dark ages, right? But
they try to tell you that everybody was a slave, everybody was a musician. They try to tell you in a sense that Black people contributed nothing. But look, throughout the Middle Ages, we were there. Yes. They try to deform the art. They try to change the art, but they can't change it because this is a modern.
But this is from a movie. I forget the movie or a TV show. I think The Last Kingdom or one of them joints. But yeah, it's a Black dude they put in as a Viking because they know this is what a Dane would have looked like. So they trying to, trying to be a little honest by throwing them in the movies and stuff like that. 1, 2, 3, 4 sprinkled up in here, here and there and stuff like that. And the white people are like, what are they doing in the movie? And they're like, well, they have to do it. But the fact of the matter is, this is what they actually would have looked like. Right.
Picture, they didn't know that when they made it, they were showing who was the main mind.
No, they knew. They just didn't tell you. So we had saints in Scotland. Now you got saints in ancient Britain. Saints appear to be local name of the Phoenician settlers of the Western European ports who, by nature of heritage, were Canaanites. But we know a lot of these were Israelites that fared that far. They're trying to talk about the Canaanites being people because they're going to say sons of Ham, which makes them Black and Shemitic. So how are they Black and Shemitic? It says and Hebrew all in one. They're not Canaanites. These are Israelites that they're talking about, right? It's just they don't put Israelites because the time this book was written, they're Jewish people. So, yeah. But y'all know how it is. So, it's trying to tell you that they're Black people because of their connection to Ham. But we know that the Black people that this weren't Hamites. They were Israelites, right? There's no connection to anybody that spoke any type of Egyptian or Canaanite language. The only one was Hebrew. Only Proto-Sinaitic language up there was Hebrew, which means it was the Israelites that were speaking it. So the quote unquote Phoenicians or people of the Levant that were going over there to these lands, we know are the Israelites, right? Which is why they had to say Ham, Shem, and Hebrew all in one. Shem is Hebrew, Ham is not. So you got to make up your mind which one is it, right? So yeah, put two and two together. It's two for the Shem, Ham and Hebrew. I mean Shemitic and Hebrew. So right, but and then centuries later were called the Moors, which we know some of us were called the Moors. A lot of the Moors were actual Africans, right? So they are locally known as Celts of Gaul, right? And I explained that to you guys 2 weeks ago as well when it comes to the Gauls. I gave you guys the Spartacus reference, right? Spartacus being like, Judah, and then Crixus being Gaul, right? So, Celts of ancient Britain, right? So you've got the Celts of Gaul and the Celts of ancient Britain. The Celts of Britain would be Southern Kingdom Israelites, because y'all were the first ones to get over there to that side. Scotland and Britain, Wales, all that type of stuff. There's Judah, Benjamin, Levi type stuff. Romanic Celts, which I explained that to y'all as well. Back when we took over Rome and stuff like that, and had the high class Israelites speaking Latin, and then the lower class ones speaking Koine Greek, until we made Koine Greek the actual language in the land, and made Latin kind of die out a little bit, right? So, and then of course the Celts of Germany, France, and the Netherlands, and so on. Which, damn. Here are various classes of the artifacts arranged by place of date. They got the chief god, Dagda, 200 BC, Northumberland, Briam, Celtic Roman god, Hercules, 100 AD, right? So, yeah, he says 200 BC, then he goes to 100 AD. 100 AD makes more sense to me, not BC anything. But anyway, North Yorkshire, tombstone of Julia Vella, 150 AD, which Julia was a black woman. Norfolk Celt bronze king's crown, 200 AD. So they got a black man king crown in Norfolk, England, right? 200 AD. And Antoine Wall in Scotland, which is a slab of defeated Britons. It's got all black people on it and stuff like that. And one of the many Moorish coat of arms of the medieval English royal family in the 1300 AD, which you can see a whole lot of those in that book, Nature Knows No Color Line. You can see all of them, right? All the different last names and all the different type of stuff. So there's last names not listed, some last names that are listed, but that's how it goes. So this is just an example of the coat of arms, right? One of what one would look like.
The history of blacks in Britain has been.
I'm gonna read this. The history of the Black Britons of blacks in Britain has been recorded by Gerald Massey, Godfrey Higgins, and David McRitchie. Massey, in the book Beginnings, talked about the Egyptian origin of the FBB, which wouldn't be Egyptian. We know it would be Israelite. They always are trying to put us close to Israel, but they never put us in Israel because that would be a sin to the Jewish people, right? So, yeah. And then it's like when you talk about Egypt, they don't want us to be the Egyptians. So which one is it? Got to make up your mind, right? So, Book of the Beginnings talks about the Egyptian origin of the foundation of Black Britons. Massey said a great nation called Celtae, which is the Celts, right? Of whom the Druids were of the priests. And we're going to talk about the Druids one day too, because the Druids are the, so-called shaman, the priest and stuff like that of the Greeks, right? And we know that the Greeks were Israelites. We've explained that to you guys and gone over a bunch of those lessons. They transform into the Celtics. The Celtics. They transform into the Celts. And the Celts, right? They called their capital Celtae, right? And their shamans at that time go from being priests to druids. If you know anything about the druids, this is where a lot of the Masons get their quote-unquote ritualistic history from. So that is a little deep, might get a little deep for some of y'all. I'm trying to think if I want to do it on a Milk Monday class or just have a separate class for it, just like on the fly, so that not too many of y'all see it. But the Druid history is going to prove to you that there were things we were doing back this time, prove the real heathenistic culture we had at that time period. But aside from that, it's going to prove to you the things that Esau actually stole from us, that they still do today, as far as the rituals and things like that y'all think come from them, but they don't come from them. You know, it ain't no like drinking blood stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. That's all them. But like other rituals and stuff like that they do, come from the Druids. So we'll talk about that stuff, right? But yeah, that's where a lot of Mason history comes from, the Druids, and a lot of the sayings that they have, a lot of the speak that they have comes from sayings and things that are found or were found in the Druids' books. So they're wise sayings, you know, that they say, whether they be in Latin or Greek or whatever, they're actually wise sayings that come from the Druid history, which is crazy because it's most stuff that they just copying from black folk. So, but yeah, so a great nation of called the Celtae, of whom the Druids were the priests, spread themselves amongst the earth and traced in their gigantic monuments from India to the extremity of Britain. Massey said the Celts were Cushites, right? And they're not Cushites, they're Israelites. So if the Celts were Cushites, they were black, like Cushites, you know what I'm saying? As it says Exodus, what's that, 11 and 7, right? We look similar, but we not. We kind of similar, you know what I mean? But they the dog and we the human, for lack of better words. So, as it basically does say. But anyway, so yeah, Massey said the Celts were the Cushites, which by Cushite he means black. So we know that they weren't Cushites because there's no history of Cushites actually going over there and settling anything, right? Those people didn't speak a Cushite or Hamitic language, right? They didn't speak, you know, Hotep language. So that being the case, them being people that spoke Gaelic, which is Hebrew basically, they had to be the Israelites. So black, but not Cush.
Been recorded by Jerome Massey. Godfrey Higgins.
In fact, we could just fast forward past that. All right, let's get some pictures.
Your people are not cowards. That's why Oliver Cromwell said, I got to get rid of these niggas. I got to get rid of these black Celts, these black Irish, these black Scotsmen. I got to get them out of here.
So the reason you see so many Stuarts and stuff like that from Scotland, Ireland, you know, Wales, primarily going to the Caribbean is because Oliver Cromwell made sure that that's where they went, right? So any of them that were prominent in Scotland, Ireland, a whole lot, mainly, primarily them, right? Those were the people that you see in the, you know, Caribbean, your Jamaica, your Trinidad, Tobago, all of that type of stuff, right? So this is why we say it's not too difficult to distinguish what tribe would be what over there, because it was based on who was in power, right? So it's got to be, if Judah ends up coming to the mainland in mass number, that means most of the Benjamites, or a whole lot of the Benjamites, would also be the people in Scotland and Wales, right? There's also Danites over there. I got family with the last name Latham, that's from over there, right? St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, Trinidad, Tobago. I've seen the maps and stuff like that. And one of them dudes, the sun-grown dude, Eris Latham, right? Got the same last name as me. And when you do the little AI junk, take the picture, and I had the locks, and it showed me as an old man, I look just like that dude. So, I bet if we took a DNA test, we related. You know what I mean? But Irish people, from what he said, are from like Scotland. So it matches up perfectly because we've all, like I told y'all, we got history in our family that says we got folks from there too. And Irish is a nigga. So there's a little history for y'all there. But Tacticus, of course, wrote about black Celts, right? If we look at this part right here, It starts here. It says the Romans came to Britain in 43 AD. So Romans and Celts, right? These black Romans come to Britain 43 AD. They come to rule the people that control their valuable natural resources. The Broadnax did not accept rule. They worshiped Druidism. So there's this is why I think a lot of these people were, you know, Judah, Benjamin, that originally went there, because the Romans that were in power in 43 AD are not white Romans for the vast majority that are coming out there. They're black ones, right? So it's us coming into this power and stuff like that, right? Us coming into power and things like that coming into play. There's still white folks that are in power further on into Rome, but Rome is split at this time. By the time you get to 93 AD, right? Y'all know what happens with Septimius Severus. So it was a gradual turnover of us being the people in power enough to be able to fully take them over and quench their power in Rome, stuff like that. So, but yeah, so I'm sure there's some white folks up there coming with us too and stuff like that, but there's black people here too, 43 AD, that's pulling up with the Romans that's coming to Britain, right? And of course, people here, they're following Druidism because they had just come from Rome and Greece. So that's how we know that they're all the same people. They just end up fighting against each other. This is when the wars begin between Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and Dan, right? And people that was with him, which is most likely Asher and Ephraim. So the Romans noticed that the British spirit of resistance was nurtured by the Druids. The stronghold of the Druids was on the Mona Island, Anglesey of North Wales, right? In 60 AD, the Roman governor, Suetonius Paulinus, marched his army to Anglesey to remove the Druids from power. So, and we know the reason that was because Druids were people that were in power during the Roman time, certain places like Gaul and stuff like that. And even people like way back around 100 something AD when Caesar was around, right? Caesar had issues with the Gauls and he had issues with the Druids, people that he couldn't get out the way, basically. So they continued being a nuisance to them, you know, up to this point. So that's how that worked. Just wanted to show you all that. And then it carries over into what tactic is saw that we read before. So, excuse me. They ended up trying to burn them all down. So they even had a Druid sacrifice, right? Them being Northern Kingdom, they did sacrifices just like, well, a lot of them being Northern Kingdom. The actual Druid priests usually were Danites. But yeah, they did a lot of rituals and sacrificial rituals, especially when we captured enemies. We would sacrifice the enemies, kind of like the Aztecs and the Mayans and stuff like that would, right? Issachar, Zebulon and stuff. So yeah, we used to do that, even in Europe. So while they was doing it over here, we was doing it over there. It's kind of crazy. But they got the comparative study, right? They got Latin and Greek with the Northern Congolese languages and how they're similar, right? So, yeah. And then, of course, they get into Vikings, origins of the Danes. Boom. Where that junk at? Yeah. These pictures right here.
You are a Viking. You are a Celt.
This nigga. All right. Yeah, that's the reason I'm not playing the video, because he's kind of animated, so I don't want to hear all that. But the Vikings who invaded Ireland were blacks, right? The black Vikings were we're called the Dub Ginty or the Black Gentile. This is information that I showed you guys. He's also found it as well, or found it back when he was doing the research, which is before I did the research, because this video is older than we were doing the research. So, and he ended up coming across the same pictures, right? Pictures that Priest Daniela showed you, that I've showed you, that other people have shown you, right? Clearly, they're black people. History tells you that they're black people. The origins of the Anglo-Saxon race, that very famous book about the origins of the Anglo-Saxons and the Danes, the Vikings, the black ones, right? Tells you that these people were black. And of course, them being called the Dub Ginty and it being founded by black people, Ireland and Scotland, they've got the Dublin Black Viking settlement in 851 called Dublin in Ireland, which is now the capital of such a place, right? Loudmouth crackers that want to be black, like Conor McGregor, are from there now. But fact of the matter is, we were the ones that lived there and ruled from there first. Those castles, when you go there, in the inside of them, the reason why you can't get in a lot of them is because they still got black art carved into the walls that they can't get rid of because it would be, destruction of the castle. So they just make it so you can't get in there. They'll have somebody pay to put a movie like Dracula up in one of them castles. And then when they play the back of the like when they show a camera on the back of the wall of the castle while dude is talking, you can see the black people on the horses in the back of the video, but you got to be like really paying attention to see it. And they do it like that because they know that they can put the truth out there, and a lot of us ain't even gonna realize it's there. Not gonna watch the movie more than once. So vast majority of people not even gonna see it. And if they do see it, they're not gonna think it's real. They just don't think it's something for the movie. But when you do your research, it's an actual castle, and it's actually got actual pictures in it from that actual time period, and they actually got black folks on the horses, which means they're the ones in power, right?
You will fuck them. I mean, I'm sorry. You will. You may mess them up. Oops. I'm sorry, baby.
That's the picture on the boat, led by William the Conqueror, who we also see as a black guy, and I will show you because I got his picture too.
In 852, the black Gentiles were attacked by Finginti, who arrived in 8 ships.
So Finginti, who are those? The cracker, the white people, the Edomites, right? So they come in 852 and they attack the Danes, right? With 8 ships of crackers. These so it says, the Finginti were defeated after 3 days by the Danes, or the Dub Ginti, after 3 days of battle. These blacks controlled the Irish coast for much of the 9th century from the center of Dublin. Okay. And then, of course, Dan and the Southern Kingdom go back and forth for Ireland because the Southern Kingdom's in Scotland, and we start going to go mess with y'all over in Scotland. So it becomes a war at that point. But Scotland was Judah, Ireland was Dan, and that's why when you look at King James and them, right? One of the reasons I like in particular think that he could be of Judah, but it's also possible that he was Benjamin, right? But it's got to be one of the two. It's simply because we know that Dan was in Ireland and they were fighting over in Scotland. And when you look at King James, like what they claim as his ruling territory, they never mention Ireland. It's always England, Scotland, Wales, right? So they rarely mention Ireland. That's the way it works. So, yeah. But
those Caucasians are always trying to follow us, always trying to follow you.
All right. Yeah, and that's that. So, and I thought those were the sources. What's going on? All right, that was short. Damn. All right, so these are the sources used. If you want to get that, you can take a screenshot and go look them up and everything like that, right? So, yeah. All right, and before we go, because that's literally all I was going to show y'all, I want to go back over this stuff, of course. Of course. So, all right. So, yeah, we talked about the Danite migration, rediscovered Dan. We got Judah coming to the land, right? And where's the first place we talk about them going to? Ireland and Scotland, right? From Greece. So, we give you guys a little Greek route, right? How they would have got there. So, go into all of that type of stuff. We've done this before in different videos and everything like that. Showed y'all our history in Athens and Scotland and Greece. Josephus talking about us, how we had a Sabbaton and Sabbath observance in Greek and in Greece and Rome and stuff like that. We had established synagogues, legal toleration for different things, like until they stopped us from being able to do any of that type of stuff. So, and then afterwards there was legal toleration again after the fact. But you know how it goes. So yeah. Dan in the Southern Kingdom captivity to the Edomites. Of course, that puts us in a situation where Dan and Judah end up re-meeting with each other. But I showed you guys the Gaelic language and stuff like that, right? So Dan and Judah defeat Rome in the final time, 193 AD. And after this period between 200 AD and 1300 AD, Israelites went to Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Georgia, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, right? And Hungary and all them different places, right? So, and yeah, 193 AD, of course, is Septimius Severus, like we were talking about earlier. I think I might have said 93 AD, but I meant 193. But yeah, in Germany, they're speaking Old Gaelic. So the language that they spoke in Germany as they went there, as we showed you and as Clyde showed you in the video that we just watched, from Gibraltar, as you like to call it, but they basically went up to Iberia already speaking the Gaelic language, which is why when they got to Germany, it's already a thing that they're speaking, right? It becomes the language of the land until it dies out once we're not there anymore. The reason it died out once we weren't there anymore is because it was our language just for us to speak. It was not a language we were speaking with everybody else. So, but yeah. So, origin of the Gaelic is Irish, Scottish Gaelic, and then there's Manx, which is its version in other places of the world, right? And they were originally the same language, but diverged over the thousands of years, right? And so it says there is much evidence to suggest Gaelic and Hebrew are similar, and no people in Germany, Ireland, or Scotland speak this language today. Gaelic, being a Celtic language, shares similarities that other Indo-European languages don't share. So, it being a Celtic language and the Celtics being Israelites, they're going to be people that are in the Indo-European region that also speak a Levantine language, right? So that's how that works. Because they speak Hebrew, but they're also speakers of Greek and Latin, they're able to speak and make a language that's going to basically overlap all three of them, right? Whether it be because of the accents or whatever, but all three of them overlap. So Gaelic, that's what you get. And now that they're not in those lands anymore, having to speak those languages, slavery and stuff, Gaelic now doesn't exist. More proof that it was only our people that were speaking it, right? So you get this from originsofnations.org. That was the source for that. And of course, we taught you guys about the Dub Ginty, the Dub Gael, Dub Gaul, Fingal. That's what they used to be called as well. So in Ireland, they're Dub Ginty and Fin Ginty. In Scotland, they're Dub Gael and Fin Gael. Okay, but basically the same thing. That's the Manx and the Gaelic. So, this is that book I was telling you guys about, Our Darker Forefathers, right? The book is called Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race. That is the chapter that we're reading. And this chapter above this tells you about Black people in Scotland and Ireland, right? Pages 11 and 12, and in Britain. And then you get here to the Netherlands, and it's telling you about the Danes, and it goes all the way to Germany and stuff as you keep going other places, right? So it's telling you about these Black people documented in these books, right? Books like the Chronicum Scotorium, so the Chronicles of Scotland, right? The Annals of Cambridge, which is the Annals of Cambridge, which is in England. And we read to you guys the Annals of Scotland before as well. Chronicorium Scotorium again, the Codex, I think that's diplomat or diplomacy. I don't know which one it actually says because it's abbreviated, but yeah. Codex Diplo number 730 is what it says. So the Hembrigsla translated by S. Lang, edited by Anderson, pages 110 and 111. So they got historical books. They got books that tell you census and consensus information out here for the people. You know what I'm saying? So Both are telling you about these black folks that are the Danes and the Anglo-Saxons and stuff like that, the Celts, right? In these different places that they tell you black people never lived, except after modern migration. So, in slavery. This is that shit we were talking about earlier that we showed you guys, right? Of the Danes, the Northmen, my family and them coming from the Netherlands to, you know, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Britain, France. So their leader, William the Conqueror, the black image of William with the lines and everything, and then the white image of William, right? Where they try to make it an old looking image and they, you know, draw these little BS pictures and stuff. And then of course that's the more made together AI picture that they got. Actual statues and pictures, you know, the art that I told you guys you can't get rid of. It's a brother, that's a brother, that's a statue and a bust. These are the white images, and then you see the brother right there in the middle. This is I forget his damn name, Harold. That's the brother, and that's the iconoclasm. So, but these are all the things that you get to see, right? When you come to class with us. So we showed you guys us ruling Rome, right? Constantine, Emperor Alexius, this coon Manuel the First and his white wife Maria. You know what I mean? Paul, we show you a picture of Paul. We got a picture of what's your name, brother? I forget. Oh, Gregory. It's right there. Gregory, Saint Clement, and then Peter. Russian icons, right? The three holy patriarchs, Basil the Great, Gregory the Theologian, and John the Chrysostom, which this is supposed to be John. Saint Nicholas, right? Saint Nick. You heard he was black? Well, there he is in the flesh, a nigga of the church. So, Hungary, Bulgaria, right? You got Boris. This the white image of Boris, and this the real image of Boris. You got Frederick, right, of Bohemia, a black guy, right? Mattathias, Anglo-Saxon king, right? Black. Primitive rulers from Russia, Saint Maurice, the most famous knight in that time, best fighter in the world during that time period. Got the golden, he's got the golden sword, literally the golden sword. You got the most feared king ever in Russian history. You think Vladimir Putin is bad? This nigga name was Ivan the Terrible. And he was a terrible king. Most feared king ever in Russian history. And as you see, he's a Negro, right? You got Joanne, the Archduchess of Austria, right? Infanta of Castile and Aragon, and the Princess of Burgundy and Flanders, the second daughter of the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. So Charles V is black. Joanne, his second daughter, got to be black. And lo and behold, you see a damn coin of the Negro woman. We got to say things like that because, you know, they don't want you to think she's black. And then, of course, Frederick's wife, this guy, the daughter of King James, Elizabeth of Bohemia. Yes. Yes. King James don't just got sons, he got daughters too. And she ruled Bohemia with this nigga right there. They both got coins. You see? All right. So, the guy that made the Russian icons and commissioned it, right? For it to be continued to be made, for it to be a book that commemorated the people that ruled the world. You know, all the different families and their lineages in Europe. His name was Vladimir. He was also Russian, right? His son, I think it was Gleb, is the founder of Ukraine, right? Boris, I might be switching it. It's either Boris that's the founder of Ukraine and Gleb is the founder of Czech, or it's Boris that's the founder of Czech and Gleb that's the founder of Ukraine. But Russia, Ukraine, and Czech all come from these three niggas right here, right? Who were later murdered by their third son, Svitopluk, right? They're accused. So I ain't got no picture of him. Couldn't find it. I guess he's so, yeah, they don't rock with him, so they ain't got no pictures online or something. I don't know. But here we go. Charles. This is a Louis, but I don't remember which one. No, this is James II. No, I'm lying. So, okay, hold on. Back up. So, this is Louis the 15th. 14, 13. This is Louis the 14th. Louis the 15th. Right? Or this is Charles. My bad. I'm tripping. This is Charles. Yeah. This is Louis the 15th. This is Louis the 14th. This is Louis the 16th. This is Louis the 13th. This is King James. And this is Henry the 4th. So Charles, dude, I showed you his daughter earlier. That's him right here. This is King Louis of France. These are French rulers. So that's the end of that, right? These are French rulers. This is Louis the 14th, Louis the 15th, the fat Louis, and then Louis the 16th, the last Louis, the one that got his head chopped off. And that's how Napoleon ended up taking over to do the Louisiana Purchase, put all his people that were in Louisiana in captivity, right? Louisiana was named after this Louis right here. So, and then of course Henry, right? The beginning of the French monarch here, right? And then King James, the last of the English monarch, and then Louis the 13th, most famous Louis. So that's that, right? And then you got how we used to depict the Edomites, of course, how I like to show y'all that all the time. Hairy people, right? So and then you got Black Scotland as well. First kings there, Fergus, first legendary king of Scotland, right? Fergus, the legendary Scottish king. Fergus More, the king of Western Scottish kingdoms of Dalrita around 500 AD, right? So he's the first guy that they consider a unified king. They also got Malcolm as well, right? So, but Malcolm the first. You got Kenneth III, circa 1000. Kenneth III, king of Scotland, 997 to basically 1005, right? Although the facts about his life are not certain, it is believed that Kenneth killed Constantine III for the throne, but was overthrown by Malcolm II at Mosnyard. So he was supposed to be big time king, but didn't get to do it because of Malcolm II, allegedly, right? Then you got Malcolm III, father of, or the grandson of Malcolm II. King of Scotland, also known as Malcolm Canmore, or Seanmore, or Conmore, right? However you want to pronounce it. But Conmore is meaning, Con is his name, More black. So Con black. Meaning great head or chief, right? That's not really what it means. It's black. Or Khan might mean, king or chief or whatever, great head or something like that. That might be what the first name means, but More was the name that they put at the end of it for black. So, and I explained that to y'all and I showed that to y'all when we did the lesson on Black Scotland. So if you want proof on that to know I'm not just running my mouth, go and see that. We showed it to you on the internet. It wasn't an article that I put. We actually showed it to you historically. So Malcolm was crowned king at Scone in 1057, having overthrown and killed Macbeth, who had assumed power after murdering Malcolm's father, Duncan I. So Macbeth was a nigga too. You've heard that before. You guys heard that. You guys knew that. You guys have listened to it and stuff like that before, right? Well, yeah. Wasn't white people running around killing black people in Kingdom and stuff like that, right? Like, no, it ain't gonna happen like that. How Macbeth gonna overthrow somebody and be white? They don't happen. That means there was people on his side. So the stories and the rumors you heard were true. And he's killing niggas, killing king. So reigned in exile at the English court, and after he married his second wife, Margaret, who was English, began to introduce feudalism in Scotland to replace traditional Celtic culture. Why? Because they was black Celts. Throughout this reign, he attempted to annex Cumbria and Northumberland until William II invaded Scotland and Malcolm was forced to pay homage to him. So that's the end of that. And of course, we got Robert the Bruce or Robert the Black. So, 2 weeks ago, we showed you guys the migration patterns and how we got to all these places. So, if y'all want that detailed lesson, I advise you to go and check that out. So, that's all I got for y'all tonight, though. It was a historical lesson. I know y'all don't like history, so I'm not going to keep y'all for too much longer. You know what I mean? But hope y'all enjoyed it. Those of y'all that stayed and watched, thank you. You know what I mean? For those of y'all that are going to catch it later or just can't take all the history, sorry. But me being the historian that I am, I got to show y'all some of this stuff sometimes. So, we'll be back to the regular scheduled program next week. I found a really nice video to go over. Boaz showed it to me. So, shout out to Boaz. It's a crazy girl from TikTok. So, I know y'all going to like that one. So, yeah. Next week, y'all should enjoy it a lot more. It'd be less boring for those of y'all that don't like to read. So, but yeah, till next time. I guess since I'm the only one here, I'll read. Yeah, there we go. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We almost there. All right. Daniel chapter 7:18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So y'all hit the like button when y'all leave the building if you haven't already. Stay tuned for the rest of the classes we got throughout the week. And I'll see you guys next week. So like I said, stay tuned. Appreciate y'all. Now you can kick us out. Shalom.
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, 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 black music, black music, black music, black music.